Hello everyone, today we're taking a look at the Vote email worm. This worm came about less than 2 weeks after the September 11th, 2001 attacks in America, and played off of that tragedy, sending emails related to it with message boxes related to it, which some security experts feared might have caused it to spread more rapidly, but due to its very destructive nature, it ended up not spreading very far at all. So before we run it, I just have a few bitmaps on the desktop. These are just your standard Windows bitmaps. They're all here, bubbles, it all works. And then I have an HTML file, or an HTML file that I pulled from the Windows directory that basically just says loading help. But I only show this because it's going to get overwritten by the worm. I should warn you ahead of time, I've never gotten the email payload to work, so I've never actually seen it send emails, but we're going to experiment today, and since we always get random things happening on videos that we don't expect, maybe it'll work. Maybe it just needed the camera to be on to show its emails to the world. Alright, with that out of the way, we're going to launch the executable that would be attached to an email that you received and see what the worm does. So we're loading up several web pages. This one I believe displayed some sort of fake voting booth, hence the name Vote. And this one was a keylogger Trojan exe being downloaded from some Yahoo webpage that, of course, no longer exists. But even if it did, we're not connected to the internet on this computer, so it would not work. So far, so good, right? Doesn't seem like anything too bad has happened. We'll close out of these. I have not seen any emails sent, even Clippy's looking a little incredulous over here. Let's see, it's supposed to change. Yeah, we can see that our home page has now been changed to this Trojan. So every time you would launch Internet Explorer, it would try to download this, which is not good. You definitely don't want IE to be downloading Trojans as soon as you launch it, but then again, that seems to be a lot of people's experience with Internet Explorer in the first place. Alright, well, we ran it, and we're not going to see much happen until after we reboot. Although I do believe that, yes, our HTML and HTML files are indeed overwritten. They now say, America, a few days will show you what we can do. It's our turn. Zacker is so sorry for you. So all of your HTML and HTML files on the drive are overwritten with that same message and lose all the contents that they originally had. Let's see if our bitmaps still work. Yeah, they still seem to be present and functional. So only our HTML files have been affected so far, but we're going to reboot and see what happens. Alright, so we're loading into Windows 98. Oh, now we have a message box. I promise we will rule the world again. By the way, you are captured by Zacker. Well, that does not sound good. But I'm not going to be too worried about that. We notice our HTML file has now become hidden. It's got that kind of weird transparent effect to it. I guess it overwrites and modifies the attributes of them. I'm not sure why it does that, and this Office toolbar needs to get out of here. No, you will not start with Windows. In fact, Windows is not going to be starting anymore, but that's not important right now. So, let's see if our bitmap survived. Yeah, they seem to be fine. Did it ever email itself? Like I've said, I've never gotten this to work. Our inbox has nothing. How about our outbox? And of course, there is nothing. But there are several variants of this worm. In the future, I may play around with this and maybe make a quick follow-up video if I can get that to work, because I know there's also supposed to be several message boxes that it displays. This one comes from F-Secure's write-up of what the worm does. They were able to get it to display several different message boxes, but I am not. So I'll keep playing around with it, and if I get it to work, I'll make a quick follow-up for you. In fact, as a little teaser, I do have a follow-up video coming soon for the Tentacle virus. It's not super in-depth, but it is fairly amusing, and I think you might like it. So now that we know that it's not emailing itself, Clippy may have an idea, but we don't need him anymore. Goodbye, Clippy. And you might be thinking, Dan, that wasn't very interesting. All it does is display that message box and overwrites your HTML files. What's the point of that? Well, my friends, there is more to this worm, but as usual, we need to fix it to make it work properly. So this worm goes to my old favorite Visual Basic script files. They are stored in the system directory. If we scroll down, we will find two different ones. We've got dalal.vbs, and then at the very bottom, scroll up a little bit, we've got whale.vbs, and both of these need to be fixed. We're going to fix them in the order that Vote would try to run them originally had it not messed up. So let's edit whale. So this one is apparently making a file system object to get the Windows folder, getting all files, and then deleting every file it finds. Then it should say we are ready to die for what we believe in by. Alright. And real quick, before we edit that, let's see what Dalal had to say. Oh, this one says, I promise we will rule the world again. By the way, you were captured by Zacker. So this ran successfully, but it seems like it didn't do anything it was supposed to do. It's supposed to open autoexecute.bat, write it to format the drive, and then exit Windows using run DLL32. So that other one runs first, then this one, and then it logs you off and formats your drive, which is cool. But if we look, this did not happen. We have nothing in autoexecute.bat. Our computer is safe. But that's not good enough for us. It's time to fix the worm. Like I said, we'll do it in the order that it wants them to run in. So we'll do whale first. Where are you, whale? There you are. So the reason this does not work, if we turn off on error resume next and run it again, we'll see that the error is there's no next in the for loop. So in VBS you have to specify we're going to next file, since we're doing for each file in this folder. So now we'll save it, close it, and run it. And now we get a permission denied error, so it's actually trying to delete stuff. So we're going to put that back on there and save it and run it. So now it should run no problems, and we see we are ready to die for what we believe in by. Alright, there's half the worm fixed, but I'd like my drive to be formatted for this video, so we're going to turn off the error hiding functionality here and see what the problem is with this one. Object required, DAS. So we see here it's using DAS to open the text file. However, there's one small problem. It never tells the script what DAS is. If you noticed in the previous one, whale, if I go back to it, I believe it actually did specify what it's supposed to be. But yeah, so here we have DAS being declared. However, these are separated in two different scripts, and that script does not have access to the variables in this script. So we're just going to copy all this and put it into here. Was that so hard? Now, let's see if it works. Go back up to Dalal. Here we are, and here we go. Go! Oh, object required Tani. So there was a different object I missed. So this one wants to write a registry key. So we're just going to add that in here real quick. So this should be using the same object as Jazz. So we're going to save that, close you, and run you. Object doesn't support this property or method. Okay, I messed up. Hold on one second. I believe it's being very particular about that set command. So yes, it was. So it really wanted to set that variable equal to the other one, or that object equal to the other one, because Visual Basic Script is a stickler for the rules, just like me. Okay, Now we see again, like we saw when we booted, I promise we will rule the world again by the way you were captured by Zacker, but this time it should hopefully work. But this time it says the system cannot find the file specified, which is on line 14. When we look at line 14, that's where it's trying to exit Windows using run-dll32. The problem with this is, and it's one I cannot fix, the last script successfully deleted a whole bunch of files, including run-dll32, which now no longer exists in order for the worm to use it to exit Windows forcefully. So we're stuck with only these files. Windows is no longer going to boot properly, but it's time to reboot and see what it does. Anyway, did it actually add anything to autoexecute.bat? Oh, it did, so this should be fun. Close out of everything and reboot. So we boot and uh-oh, already formatting. We found 3 missing or corrupted files. They're missing because they got deleted. Then immediately our drive is formatted quickly and is now empty. You should be able to unformat should you so desire, but you're still going to be missing the majority of your Windows directory, so it's really in your best interest to reinstall Windows. If you have personal data, you may want to grab that out of an unformat, but the operating system itself is hosed. So we'll just call this drive, we'll call this drive nothing. It's frozen. Yeah, it doesn't like me pressing it. So if we restart again, we now see invalid system disk, replace the disk, and then press any key. So our drive is now empty and ready to be reinstalled. So that is about it for the Vote Worm. Highly destructive if you help it along. I may have a follow-up video in the future if I can get the email routines to work properly. And in general, if follow-up videos are something you'd like to see, I can certainly start trying to make those, just so that you can get the full experience of the worm or virus or Trojan in question. But other than that, I have nothing else to say. That is about it for the Vote Worm. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.